Is AI discriminating against you? That's the question. There's a big lawsuit that just moved into a class action this last Friday. It's Mobley versus Workday, saying this applicant tracking system might be discriminating against you. Here's the story. Before we get started, I'd like to invite you to turn the tables on AI, use it for your advantage. You can take charge and use this brand new thing that we've built here for you called BetterThing.AI. You go to www.BetterThing.AI. It's absolutely free. It will customize your resume, engage your networks, do all the things that you need to do to take charge of your job search, and it's ready for you right now. All right, go to BetterThing.AI, check it out. Now let's dive into Mobley versus Workday. So here's the story, Mobley versus Workday. There's a plaintiff in this case named Mr. Mobley. He is a gentleman over 40 years old and disabled. His claim is that Workday, an applicant tracking system, has discriminated against him based on his age and his disability status. What this means is that he's applied for a number of jobs in a number of different places, a number of different companies. And in those companies, he thought he was qualified for those jobs. And he's saying that Workday's AI discriminated against him. He didn't get the job, though on paper, it looks like he's more than qualified. Now, this is a very interesting turn. Normally, what would happen is a company would be at fault for this or would be liable for this. So whatever company decided not to hire Mr. Mobley would ultimately be the person that you go to. But in this case, the judge has said it's okay for Mr. Mobley to bring this case against Workday itself, which is fascinating. Now, this, of course, taps into the fear that we all have, right? This fear that we're being discriminated against or we're being held back by AI. And it's something that is legit to worry about, right? It's one of those things where you don't know what happens when your resume gets submitted. It feels like your resume is sent into a black hole and you never hear back. So the idea that you've been discriminated against kind of makes sense if you're in a class where that may happen, where you're at risk of this sort of thing. Now, when you apply for a job, first thing that happens is you have to upload your job to the ATS. Now, you might have noticed that when you upload your resume, the ATS tries to put that into a bunch of different fields and ask you, hey, did I get that right? If it's not getting it right, that means your resume is not tuned to the ATS. If you're having to correct it a lot, put your name in, your address, you're having to correct the work history, the education, those parsing systems are not very good. And if your resume is confusing in any way, then it won't work. It's a lot easier if you start with a resume template. And I'll link to a template that I provide right here. You'll see that, and that's free of charge if you want to use it. Easier even than that, you can customize a resume on BetterThing.AI, and that's literally a click of a button. So you click a button and it customizes it, puts it into an ATS-ready template, and you're off to the races. So that's the starting point. You upload your resume, you put in some fielded data, and correct whatever they weren't able to read. Once you've done that part, the very next step, you would think, is for a recruiter to see your application, right? That's what happens next. Recruiters see your resume. That's why you put it there in the first place. Well, no. What happens first is that applicant tracking system will take your resume and it will be sorted with dozens of other resumes that came in roughly the same time as yours. And the best fit, the most relevant resumes, those go to the top. Again, BetterThing.AI customizes your resume so it's more relevant for the job posting. So hopefully that will get you up there. But if not, you're down too low. Now, if you don't know how to do all the things that we do in modern job searches, if you don't know how to use AI to customize your resume for the job, maybe you're a little bit older and it's harder to do, then Workday might be discriminating against you. That might be the case because what it's doing is you're putting your resume at the bottom of the stack. Now, that's the only way I think that it makes sense for this to be called discrimination. Because in real life, Workday's not at fault here. If they have questions that they're asking, sometimes in an application, you've seen this, they're going to ask a bunch of questions, and the questions are like, can you lift 50 pounds? And are you legally eligible to work? Those are knockout questions, and the company picks those questions. Workday doesn't even pick those questions. So I'm not sure how they could be found liable for that. The only thing I think they can be found liable for is where your resume shows up in the stack of resumes. That's the only thing that makes sense to me. Now, you may have seen that you just don't get feedback very often. And a couple of things happen to make that happen as well. One, it could be that that job is nearly filled already. So you look at the age of the rec, how long that job has been open. And if that job's been open for more than a few days, there's a solid chance that you're never going to get seen, even if you apply. Now, if that job has only been listed for a day, you're in good shape. You're going to be somewhere close to the top of the most recent stack. And when that recruiter goes to review all the resumes that came in, you'll at least be in that batch. So there's a timing aspect, but then there's also this, am I a good fit, the aspect. Now, if you're applying to a bunch of jobs where you're not a fit, let me just appeal to you. Just stop doing that. Don't apply to jobs where you're not a good fit. It makes no sense. It just pisses everybody off. It wastes everybody's time. If you don't fit a job, don't apply. If you're not a really good fit, it's not worth your time because you will not get the job. Jobs today, this market is so tight that there's no chance for a person who's underqualified or unqualified to get a job that's posted. It's just not going to happen. So only apply for jobs that you're qualified for. That's a cold application. The only way around this is through a referral or a warm introduction, meaning you find the hiring manager, you figure out who the hiring manager is, and you talk to them first, or you reach out to someone you know in that company and you get referred. That is the only way around the idea of this is not a play, a boost in your career. Nobody's here to give you a start. Oh man, somebody's just got to give me a chance. No, they don't. Nobody needs to give you a chance. You deserve a chance somehow. Nobody deserves anything in this world, but you can appeal to a human. If you're applying cold, nobody's giving you anything. You're not going to get any help. There's no human connection. No one's going to take a shot on you. Nobody's going to take a chance. That's never going to happen. But if you make human contact, you have a chance. There's a shot. It might happen. And that's what you have to do. Now, there's a couple of different ways to do that. I'll give you my examples. The first one is you find the hiring manager. I'm going to link to another video I have right here. There it is, on how to find the hiring manager. And then you reach out to them and you make a personal appeal to be considered for the job. My wife, Angela, did that very thing and found a job that she really likes. That's how she got her foot in the door when she was really underqualified. She had been a stay-at-home mom for 24 years and decided to go back into the workforce. And that's how that worked for her. And she did great. It was a really good move for her. Now, that's one way. The second way we've built into BetterThing.AI. Let me show you the two things that you can do inside of BetterThing.AI that I think are leading edge. I haven't seen anyone do this before. Let's jump over there. Now we're in BetterThing.AI, and there's a few things to know. When you start out, you start here where you have resumes that you've saved and you can load, you find jobs, customize, and then you go into this follow-up section. And this has all the different jobs that you've added or applied to over a period of time. So right now, what I want to do is take a look at this follow-up section and engage my network, because there might be this job, the Oracle Database Administrator job that is here. I may want to engage my network. So I can do a couple of different things. I can just check my network to see who I know at Accenture, or because I know some people there, I can say draft a referral message. And what this does is it will draft the message that we send out to our people and we use as an in-mail. It says, hey, I hope you're doing well. I just came across a role at Accenture that seems like a great fit for me. Based on my recent experience, I'm really excited about the opportunity. Could you do me a quick favor? Do you happen to know anyone on the hiring team there? I'd love a direct contact if possible. Also, if you're comfortable, put me in contact, put in a good word for me. Here's a little message that you could use if you'd like. Want to connect you with my friend who'd be great for your team. They've recently worked on architecting and scaling backend systems using Node.js and AWS, and they're skilled at developing microservices and optimizing systems, blah, 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 blah. And then finally, Thanks so much for considering this. I really appreciate your help. Best. And then this resume was for Clark Kent. So best Clark. So what I do is I take this referral message, copy it, and then I'm off to LinkedIn. And in LinkedIn, there's all these people that are there that I might know. What I'm going to do is filter it down to just my first degree connections. And we'll start here with Dennis, maybe. So Dennis is right on top. And I'll send Dennis a message. Guess what? I already have that in there and I can hit send away. Now, you may want to pick somebody different. Most of my friends are recruiting people, so you'll see a lot of recruiting people in mine. But depending on what you do, you are likely to have people that work in the same function and field as you. So you'll have a lot more people who work in that department. So BetterThing.AI, it does this for you. It's part of what is built into this platform to make that happen. So that's your best bet, I think, is having a warm connection, some sort of warm conversation with that company. That is the best way to have somebody give you a shot. If you're not qualified for a job, they'll give you a shot if you make a human connection with them. Those are the two ways that I know of to make a human connection. You find the hiring manager we pointed out the video for, and then you go for a warm lead, a warm referral, and try to make human contact. All right. Hopefully this helps. These tools that I've pointed out, the other videos and things, they're all free. BetterThing.AI is free to use. 100% of what I just showed you is free. So please feel free to take advantage of that at BetterThing.AI. And best of luck in your job search.